that there'll be a bulk of traffic, probably later in the evening. So the question is, how do those two relate to each other?
I think we know on that.
The traffic study is again based on national standards. So yeah, it would be, the study is based on the assumption that the traffic comes in and leaves as it does, any other alternative study.
Here it's like
We
noon.
did not change it to account for
Okay.
closed access.
Okay.
It comes
Thank
at
you.
a regular time.
Thank you.
Thank you. We want to indicate that we're going to go another 28 minutes, so we'll have time. Other questions? People that haven't asked a question. Did you ask a question there?
No.
I didn't think so. Okay.
My name's Sandra McPhail, Long Beach Court. Who owns the beach?
Let me talk about
The
that.
question is,
And when can we see the deed?
that's what I said. Yeah. Okay, the question is, who owns the beach, and what about the deed to that? So, John?
So this has been an ongoing discussion throughout this process. And we understand that the public has used Pavilion Beach, all of Pavilion Beach, over a long period of time. And throughout this whole process, we've been supportive of that public use. I don't think nothing's changed there. People use that beach. At Fiesta, people use the beach. And we want that to continue.
Who owns it? That was it.
Excuse me. So, who owns the beach?
Let me get to that.
You're wasting time.
Go ahead, John.
You're wasting time.
We have a deed that has a parcel on it that includes Pavilion Beach.
Can we see it?
Excuse me. Go ahead.
And by law in Massachusetts, the upland owner owns out to the extreme low water. All that being said, we've had discussions with the city, and these are ongoing, and we're going to meet with the city again as part of this process. And our position is that, and I think people can understand this, as a landowner, when we know what we can do with that parcel, if it's been established that a hotel can be built there, we have our permits, and it's been constructed, at that point, we'd be ready to have an arrangement whereby the city got a deed of the beach. And that's the discussion that we're having with the city right now.
Okay, and the second part of it is, I want to make sure that the rest of your question is addressed. Once the discussion with the city is sorted out, will the deed be available so people can look at it, and then those provisions enforced? I assume that's the...
Yes, I mean, the way I anticipate this would happen, it would be a written agreement, it would be signed by bport, signed by the city, approved by the city council, and the deed would be there for people to see.
Okay, all right.
Because it hasn't been negotiated.
Thank you. Someone else that has an asked question, ma'am?
Kathy Thompson. So
Excuse me?
my name is Kathy Thompson. So am I to understand you're using this as a bargaining chip?
Catherine wanted to know if the beach ownership issue is being used as a bargaining
For your
chip
special permits?
for the special permit. So that's the question.
Well, I suppose the question is
Excuse
by,
me, I want to hear this answer.
I suppose the question is by who? That is, the city has made it very clear that they want a deed to the beach. And we're trying to make it clear that we're in agreement with public use of the beach. And once it's clear what we can do on that site, then a deed could be delivered to the city.
So again, I ask my question.
Excuse me.
Are you using this as a bargaining chip?
Well, that's kind of a loaded. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? No, you know what I mean? Because
Oh, I'm just wondering, is this to get the height of the...
the questions are on the plan, so we're trying to keep it to the plan. So they said to negotiate with the city, and then when they're negotiating with the city, that's all part of the special permit discussions. Is that correct?
Well, I think I see
That's all
this.
part of the special permit discussions, and that's where the...
I think it runs, it certainly runs in parallel.
Okay, all right, okay. All right, other questions, those that haven't asked a question?
Lonnie Rome from Intershell.
Excuse me, I want to be able to get this question. Let's give him a chance.
I have a property in the neighborhood right across the street from the project. You know, I've heard a lot of conversation about cooperation and working with your neighbors and so forth. I have a concern for the fish business in that this fish business is fairly considered a centerpiece of Gloucester, and preserving it with the activity and working together with the hotel. In front of my property, when I have to load trucks every day, the trucks that take my freight, the common carriers, can't get into the parking lot. So they load on the street, which I believe there may be an ordinance that says they're not allowed to load on the street. There's not an ordinance like that. I can hear that, but there is, but I'm not certain. But once you have to do that, because you can't, for instance, turn around in the Chamber of Commerce parking lot or pull into the Chamber of Commerce parking lot and back down to my property, you park in the street and you take up at least half the street. What would happen to the traffic? And sometimes that truck sits there for an hour. We do it as efficiently as we can, but sometimes we're not quite ready. He has no place to go. How would we address that issue with the traffic, 100 cars or so that are coming and going, and getting the logistics right there so that we can operate the business and still load our freight? Is there some form of easement plan in the works so that you can ask people who live in the neighborhood to provide easement so that we can continue to have an efficient process of loading our freight at those times?